I'll have a call to order. The CRA board meeting Tuesday, May 10th, 2016 at 6:30. We'll have Pastor Davis do invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. No? Is that it? We're slow.
Let us pray. Almighty God, our Lord, our Governor, whose glory is in all the world, and who has given us this good land for our heritage. We commend this city, this county, this state, this nation to thy merciful care, that being guided by thy providence, we may dwell secure in thy peace. We humbly beseech thee that we may always prove ourselves a people mindful of thy favor and glad to do thy will. Bless our land with honorable industry, sound learning, and pure manners. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogance, and from every evil way. Defend our liberties and fashion into one united people the multitudes brought hither out of many kindreds and tongues. In the scriptures you have said that citizens ought to obey the governing authorities, whom you have established to promote peace and order and justice. Therefore we pray for our CRA board members, Chairman Mayor Grant, Vice Chairman Vice Mayor McCray, Commissioner and Board Member Katz, Commissioner and Board Member Romulus, and Commissioner and Board Member Casello. We ask that you would graciously endow them with the spirit of wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, with a sense of welfare and the true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and rightness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even where there is honest disagreement, and personal peace in their lives and joy in their task. We also extend our prayers to those who serve our great city as the staff of Boynton Beach's Community Redevelopment Agency. We humbly ask that you will continue to lead Vivian, Michael, Susan, Teresa, Vicky, Tracy, Christopher, and Renee as they serve the community by guiding redevelopment activities such as affordable housing, free special events, and small business funding programs that create a vibrant downtown core and revitalize neighborhoods within the agency's district. Fill them now with the love of truth and righteousness, and make them ever mindful of their calling to serve your people in thy fear, through Jesus Christ our Lord, who liveth and reigneth with thee. And in the time of prosperity, fill our hearts with thankfulness, and in the day of trouble, suffer not our trust in thee to fail. All which we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we got, do we need a roll call? I guess roll call for everyone who's here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Yes.
Present.
All right. Fourth item, clarification of the CRA Advisory Board scope and duties.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to have Attorney Tara talk to you about a memo that I think most of you got today. I did send it out to all of you. Hopefully you had a chance to read it,
Yes.
but she's going to kind of give you a little synopsis.
Good evening. The city had created the CRA board, as you're well aware, and in initially doing so, there was some confusion about the role of the CRA board in terms of who they were advising and what they were. CRA advisory board.
Can you just use the acronym CRAB?
Yeah. Happily.
Thank you.
The CRAB board, in terms of who they were advising and what they were advising about. At the city's last meeting last Tuesday, a resolution was adopted which clarifies that the CRAB board is directed in its responsibilities by the city and the CRA boards. So nothing will go in front of the CRAB board except for those items that are requested to go before them by the CRA board or the city council. And if there are no special requests, the CRAB board agenda will mirror the CRA board agenda for that particular month. So with that said, Vivian and the city manager got together to further create a procedure for how things are going to make it from the city council and CRA board onto the CRAB agenda and how those things will be managed. So that is the memo that Vivian provided to you, which I'll let her speak to.
Okay. Thank you.
I just wanted to clarify that in order to help the workflow in a more in a better manner, so we're not getting requests from a commissioner or a board member, it has to be a majority consensus that has to go to the CRAB for consideration to add to their workload and thus staff's workload. Right now, we produce this board packet for them a week prior, so we're doing the same board packet twice, and then we have to come back Friday morning right after we turn around and come back and get this ready so you know what they've said. So it is a bit onerous on staff, and I'm not complaining, but we want to make sure that you have what their recommendations are. So in order to prevent us from getting requests by multiple people, we want to make sure that there's a majority consensus of what is going on their workload and thus our workload. So that was really, we're just trying to clarify that so that everybody's on the same page. So.
Point of information. So if I wanted the CRAB advisory board to look at something, I'd have to get a general consensus from my fellow board members to have them pursue it.
Right. You would put it on, you would ask to have it put on the agenda and have a vote taken on it and see if that's something that your peers would like to discuss, have them look at or research.
And that can occur on the city commission or this board.
No.
Both boards have the power to motion and vote on that.
The point of the CRA board is for CRA items, and the point of the city commission is for city commission items. And so we try to, draw a distinction of what the CRA board can do and what the city can do. And there's a lot of things that the city can't do, and there's a lot of things that the CRA can't do. So I think when we want to have agenda item on the CRA, on the CRAB board, we ask Vivian or Lori to say, we want to request this to speak about it with either the board or the city, and they'll tell us, well, that's not in the purview of the city, you'll have to talk to Vivian, or Vivian say that's not in the CRA, and then you'll have to talk to Lori. And so right now, this is new, and so it's okay to make a mistake. But going forward, if any of us want to have an item for the CRAB board to do or to look at, a great tool that we can use going forward with the CRA.
And can I just, and for this board, the CRA board, the agenda, like I said, will mirror the agenda that's going to come before you every month. So everything you guys are going to hear is going to go in front of the CRAB board prior to it coming to you. So you won't need to be adding those types of things because they will already be going on in front of the CRAB board at that time.
Thank you.
Chair.
Yes.
I like to tell staff, thank you for the memo. First of all, I like the part where it says that a member of the CRAB board cannot go to an individual who works for the CRA and request that they do research for them. I'm just saying, I like that part where it says, that you need to do your own. Do not tie them up, with personal agendas. I'm just saying, if you need something done, you need to be man enough or woman enough to handle that yourself. I like that part.
So with regards to the rules proposed in this memo, would that mean that the item right now under CRA advisory board reports is in conflict with those rules proposed? So one, we haven't decided on whether to accept these rules in the memo, but two, if we do accept the rules in the memo as proposed, then that item simply cannot exist because it was proposed by a board member from the CRAB board, not from one of us.
That is correct. It's also not in, it's not really in accord with the resolution that was passed, the resolution was passed last Tuesday. So, however, I didn't want to get into a
I
match,
understand.
a boxing match. I figured something like this clarifying more clearly how it would work, that it might soften it a little bit and coming from.
And the director of the CRA will still, be responsible for the agendas that's been presented to both boards. That's the part I like as well. So it's not like we're trying to get our own agenda passed or something so we're still in good shape. I like that. I'm good.
It definitely gives clarity to what the CRAB board's duties and responsibilities are. It's probably something we should have had when we first came out of the gate. It would have eliminated a lot of confusion
Yes.
and egg on face.
Yeah, I have one other. Do we have copies of this, or citizens would like a copy that they can obtain one? I'm just saying.
I could certainly, I didn't bring extra. I brought some for the clerk and for everyone up here, but I didn't bring extra. I could certainly provide them for anyone that wants them. They can, I know, I'm seeing a couple of people nodding their heads, so they know how to get a hold of me.
Thank
Those
you.
are interested.
Is that something that could be put on the CRA webpage?
Right. We'll definitely, if that's something that you want me to do, I'll do
Sure.
that, sure.
Sure.
Well,
Okay.
to get clarification from legal, that item right now under reports on CRA advisory board, if that shouldn't be there, I can motion to remove that, to amend the agenda, remove that from the agenda right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to motion to remove item 15A from the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item removed. All right. Is there any other additions to the agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Board Member Romulus, would you mind disclosure of conflicts, contacts, and relationships, and any informational announcements?
This week I met with Related Urban Group, which is here actually tonight, and I also got a chance to sit down with Susan Harris, our finance director for the CRA, and she took me through a long and arduous, detailed account of our budget for the CRA. So I thank her for taking the time to do that. I think that was very informational, and I look forward to the second half of our sit down. That's all I did this week.
Not at this time.
Board Member Katz.
Yeah, I just stated at the city commission meeting, I'll restate it here, that I had met with the related group, and that'd be it.
Vice Board Member or Vice Chair McCray.
Thank you, Chair. I did not meet with the related group at this time, but I met with them prior. I'd just like to say that on Saturday, I did not have to go to work at the funeral home, but there was a neighborhood project that was being done by the two neighborhood police officers and the police department here in Boynton. And they was refurbishing Burt's Daycare over on 2nd. And I said I would go over and work for a couple hours. It started at 9 a.m. We finished up at 2 a.m. And just
PM?
PM, thank you. But anyway, the mayor went riding by. I'm just saying, he and the dog, okay, lady. He was on his roller skates or blazers or whatever they call those things. He was just zipping by, and I seen him. I said, "Hey, Mayor, over here we got a project." And he said, "I'll be back." He did come back. He came back and he worked, I think, about 30 good minutes, and then he left for another hour. Just kidding, yeah. He worked real hard. I'm just saying I didn't want to see any mulch when I got home. But anyway, to see the look on the individuals who owned the property when they came back and looked at the work that was accomplished, and to see the tears that were shed, it was worth it. And I'm glad that I was off from work, and that they said they're going to be doing about 4 other projects like throughout the community. And it was just a fantastic partnership that we formed with the neighborhood officers. I would just like to personally say, since I see an officer here, if you can go back and tell them that I, along with the rest of this staff, said thank you for all of their hard work and partnership with the CRA as well as the city. Thank you.
I spoke on the phone with a related group. and I attended Amanda James' one-year anniversary. It's a wonderful art gallery that we have on Ocean Avenue next to the East Ocean Cafe. I attended a few restaurants, went to DJ's Grill, Two Georges, Hurricane Alley, and I believe that's all the places that I've went to so far in the CRA. And now we'd like to move on to the announcements and awards. Music on the Rocks, please.
Good evening, Christopher Burdick, Special Events Coordinator for the Boynton Beach CRA. On Friday, May 20th, we're going to have, the Boynton Beach CRA is presenting Music on the Rocks featuring Gravel Kings, which is an indie rock, folk, bluegrass band. It's a free event that takes place at the Ocean Avenue Amphitheater from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. The band starts at 6. The food trucks arrive at 5. 6 food trucks will be on site, provided by the Food Truck Invasion, which guarantees a rotation of the food trucks each month and markets the joint event. The bar is provided by Carefree Catering. Free on-site parking is available. And our last Music on the Rocks concert date for the season is June 17th with the Red Eye Band, which is a local band of ours. They play classic rock. And then our Music on the Rocks series will return October 21st with a new concert series. Movies in the Park on May 6th, 2016, the Boynton Beach CRA hosted the Movies in the Park at the Ocean Avenue Amphitheater. The featured movie was Labyrinth. The free event took place at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Guests were encouraged to bring beach chairs and blankets. There was free parking available on site. A trailer of select CRA businesses was shown before the film, and gift cards donated by the selected CRA district businesses and Pirate Fest souvenirs were given away to guests through a drawing after the movie. Food, snacks, and beverages were available for purchase from vendors. Actually, I just wanted to say we had a really outstanding attendance for this last movie. Over 200 people came out. We didn't really have any more room for sitting. It was pretty amazing. And then our next Movies on the Park is Beetlejuice on June 3rd. That's the last Movies in the Park for the season. Movies in the Park will return October 7th with a new series of movies.
All right. What happened with the April Music on the Rocks? Did that get rained out?
Yes. And you were there?
I was there for a little bit. And I also forgot to mention that I was there for The Labyrinth. That was a great movie choice. Yes. I'd never seen it before. And
no, really? Excellent movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Beware of the Goblin King. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now we're on to information only. What is that? 10? Can someone present on the marketing business development campaign?
Tracy's out. She had surgery, so she's out. I'm sorry.
Okay.
She couldn't be here. If you read through here, we do monthly, we do Boynton Forum advertising for our local businesses. That's an ongoing effort that's done all through the year. We did a great one for Mother's Day. I don't know if anyone saw it. We included it in your, I think it in your packet. The Coastal Angler marketing campaign, 6-month campaign to promote the marina, neighborhood news, Pineapple newspaper. You can see all the work that she does, and this is every month she cranks out. This is what she's done every month. This is all her work. So she puts it in the backup as well, so you can see all of the marketing material and collateral that she's done and distributed and where she's distributed. So,
and I guess I'd like to make publicly known that on Thursday, May 19th at 6:30 at the Carolyn Sims Center, we are having our Neighborhood Officer Policing Program community meeting with our Sergeant Henry Deal and Officer Terrence Paramore. I hope that everyone can be able to attend and spread the word for our current program. Any comments on the CRA Advisory Board agenda or minutes? Seeing none.
I'd like to make one.
Yes.
And that is, I don't want us to go away without saying, since I've seen it on this card here, that the model block, the two homes, that we did the ribbon cutting. Since I see our picture, Chair, and yours and mine on here, you know, it was a job well done, and it was, for those that attended, you know, the families was really elated. Job well done. We are doing great things here in this city. I'm just saying, I want to toot our own horns. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we're on to public comments. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a comment? You're limited to 3 minutes.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Name is Harry Woodworth, 685 Northeast 15th Place, speaking for Inca. I was at the CRA advisory meeting last Thursday. I was the only one there. The CRA advisory board was there, Vivian's people were there, and I was there. There was an interesting conversation. Hopefully the memo will address the role a little better, so I won't comment on that until I read the memo. There was one thing we did agree on. We don't have a way to contact the advisory board members, and they graciously offered that we would use their personal emails, which we have. As I was about to put those on the IncaView website, I realized that it would just really not be a smart thing to do to put personal email contact information on an international website. And I was wondering if the CRA advisory board could have city email addresses, because it would just be a horrible thing to put personal email information up on a website. Maybe we could do that. Other than that, you know, if anybody wants to contact them, we have that information, but I just think it's really wrong to put personal emails up. That's about all I have. It was an interesting meeting, but until we see the memo, I think we'll just let it go at that. Thank you.
Vivian, can you respond with getting...
We consulted the city when the advisory board was formed about what the other advisory boards, how they handle it, and they're not given city emails.
So unless they want personal emails, they can make a new email on Gmail that's...
Right, and that's what some of them have done.
Okay.
Some of them have done that.
So I think if, you know, we'll, you know, like to have, I guess, our CRA advisory board make similar emails so that they can have their last name, first initial, then crab at Gmail or Yahoo at AOL, Hotwire, whatever.
We explained to him also about Sunshine Law that if they're using their personal email to talk about CRA business, then all their email is now subject to Sunshine. So we tried to explain to them. That's when some of them did switch to creating an email. So
Okay, great. All right.
And just to clarify, it's if you use your personal email account, it doesn't make non-CRA business public record, but it just does beg the question of what emails exist in your personal account. So it's just cleaner to keep them separate to the extent practicable.
Now we're moving on to old business. Item A, consideration of allowing the executive director to sign on behalf of the CRA the site plan and rezoning application for the Ocean One project at 222 North Federal Highway. This is allowing, I believe, Vivian to speak with Ocean One about our request for the property.
thank you, Mayor. Chair. I just want to explain, when we had that development orientation workshop, this just, the start of that process is they submit an application to the city with their site plan. And basically, when they submitted their site plan, they submitted it with the CRA property, but without the authority of the CRA. So it could not be processed for review for the standard site plan land use zoning review. So now, although we have not hammered out terms of a purchase and development agreement with them that would give us control over the look and feel of the project and other elements that we want as a community benefit agreement, things like that, the project has been sitting basically on the shelf, not being reviewed, because I myself don't have the authority to sign off statutorily on behalf of the agency, and the agency couldn't give me that authority without the statutory process. So all we're asking now is for me to sign because all the statutory requirements have been met, and for that process. This is not giving the property, in no way are we releasing the property. We still will own it. It's just allowing it to go through the development department review process, that's all.
All right. Can I get a motion to
Motion
approve?
to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second item, consideration of commercial interior build-out grant to Boost Seacrest LLC, also known as Family Dollar, in the amount. I see that we, Mr. Katz?
Could I ask you a question of Vivian? Vivian, did you say for items B and C that the initial grants were $15,000 and the grants have since changed? So were these the two items that you had said that? I'm not sure if
One was 22.5 and one was 15. When we entered into the purchase and development agreement with Bose, who developed the Family Dollar, the grant amounts at that time were lower, and the grant applications reflected that. Now that they're coming in for their grant reimbursements and filling out the grants, the applications that are online are the new applications, obviously. So you can either approve, if you look at the recommendation, you can approve the amount that's actually in the agreement, which is 22.5 for the interior build out, or the amount that's on the application, which is 25,000.
And I'll ask, the opinions of the board, but I think that, there's a savings there for the CRA of $12,500. There were terms agreed to, even though the terms of the agreement haven't changed, but I don't think if we had lowered the grant that they would be willing to give us money back. So if just because the grant has increased since then doesn't mean that we're obliged to give them more. I think it's, in good faith that they expect what was available at the time that they negotiated this. So I'd like to change those from 25 and 25 to 22.5 and 15 to save us $12,500.
We're just on the item B right now.
B is the $22,500 one?
Yes, it's 20, it would be 22.5.
So I'd like to motion to amend that from 25,000 to 22.5.
I just got a question for legal. Are we going to get in trouble, or do they have a potential lawsuit for us against the CRA board for reducing the amount?
No, in my opinion, when you're interpreting a contract, the language is clear. We did not leave it blank that you could apply for this. It's for a specific amount because we can award up to a certain amount in a grant. So because it's specifically identified in the contract, I don't see a contract issue with regard to that.
All right. Can I get a second?
I will second. I just also want to add, I do agree with you, Commissioner, Member Katz, Chair Member Katz.
It's difficult, yeah.
One thing that Vivian did explain to me with regard to this was that this is up to, so they don't necessarily have to take the entire amount, though I know that they probably will. So I am in agreement with you that if it can be a savings on our part, then I'd prefer to go ahead and go with that. So I will second that motion.
Thank you for that second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Next is item C, consideration of commercial facade grant to Boost Seacrest LLC, a.k.a. Family Dollar, in the amount of $25,000.
Now, I'll
Board Member Katz.
motion to approve that at the previously agreed upon amount of $15,000.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved, or consideration approved.
I thank Henry Dirksen, who's in the audience from Bose Development. Very much a pleasure to work with in getting that project done, and I hope to work with him again. He's really was a great project to get done for that community. We hope to have a grocery store, Henry, soon.
All right. Okay, on to item D, presentation by Related Urban Development Group on the proposed Ocean
Excuse me,
Breeze.
Vivian, where's Henry? That's the two that's leaving?
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad y'all agree. You didn't faint goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
If you give them to us, we'll pass them down. Just give them here.
I got one. Got an extra one. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chair, board members. Executive Director, everyone attending. My name is Jason Goldfarb. I work for the Related Urban Development Group based out of Miami. We were the chosen developer to build the Ocean Breeze East property. But before we kind of get into that, we heard there's an item that's been under discussion at other times in the past regarding an unrelated item with another project that Related Group, our parent company, was involved in called Marina Village. So we really wanted to sort of address that before we proceeded with the Ocean Breeze East proposal. So if anyone would like to discuss it, we're open.
Can you talk into the mic a little?
Sure. Sorry.
It's tough to hear you.
So you're saying something about we can ask you questions regarding Marina Village?
Well, there's an item that I heard was under discussion regarding a concern about parking, and we'd really like to address any kind of concerns that you might have so that there's nothing that conflicts with what, us trying to move forward with our dealings here.
Why is there reluctance to open up the 80-something or so spots up on the top tier of the parking garage?
Well, we have one of our representatives is to help, I think clarify some things and address any concerns that you might have, hopefully.
Rick Fortenberry with Related Group Asset Manager. Jason's brought it to my attention that this was a concern, so we've been talking to our partners on coming up with a solution. I'll be more than happy to reach out and see if there's something that we can reach as far as like an agreement moving forward on this.
Is there any sort of proposal that you guys would have, or you just need to?
Right now, I'm not prepared to make a proposal. I think that's something that we should talk about. We have partners that are involved in the project, so I can't make that decision myself.
Okay. But is there anything that, Related can do, or you just, it's kind of like you said, the question is that, there's 80 spots of parking up on the roof. And, we can, from what I'm aware of that parking garage is that you'd have to go through the resident parking in that gate. So it's either you move the resident spots to the higher levels or you allow, I guess, everyone to go through the residence as a gate.
And that would be something that we'd have to discuss with the association because we wouldn't be able to have that decision to move.
Is that something you could bring back, like a proposal or an idea?
I'd be happy to meet with you on it.
Great.
How many other entities are involved in that? Is it just you guys and the HOA of the Marina Village?
Well, the parking garage, if and I'm speaking, I don't have the information in front of me. I believe the parking garage is controlled by the association. So, what we're able to do as far as moving gates and stuff, that would have to go through the association. And I'd be happy to meet with you and discuss.
Should we be meeting with the association, or should we be meeting with you?
I think that it's got to be a combination. Without having some type of agreement from them, we're not able to move gates. Also, like I said previously, we'd have to discuss with our partners as far as there's individual partners that have ownership in those, so we'd have to discuss that with them.
Thank you.
But it would be feasible if we said that we could direct the CRA director to meet with your group and the HOA.
Correct. Yes, I'd be happy to.
Staff?
I think that we have talked to the association and the management company, actually, more the management company for the association. And I think it was kind of a lukewarm, we didn't really push it because it's not really our agenda to push. It's not the CRA's agenda to push. It would be kind of awkward, but I think.
But since it's
if we get more parking for the marina, that's kind of what the CRA would have because
but
we are a stakeholder
how
there.
much do we want to spend?
Well, that's kind of, absolutely. It's something that we definitely would want to look at to see to go forward.
If we can.
Getting 40 more
without
spots
the
to the marina would be very
homeowners
helpful.
having to, that's one of the issues that's always been, and Rick pointed out very well, is that having to restack everybody. And it's not like we haven't talked to them about it. We have. It's just, and one of the things I did discuss today was getting a parking person to come out and look at where all the units are and look at the parking assigned now and could it be done and how would it look and where would the gate have to go. and just have somebody come out and make a recommendation to the HOA. And, you know, maybe do that first and see if it's even possible.
So it all tears on whether the condo association wants their spots moved, because
Right.
they're at liberty to say no at any time.
Exactly.
And so that's why you said, how much money is it going to cost to have someone move their parking space?
Right. And how much will Related want to sell those spaces to us for?
Okay. And so Related does own the parking spaces on the roof?
Correct.
Okay. So
Those are the ones that nobody wanted to buy.
I see. And so it's only up to residents that can buy it, because they're the only ones with gates. And if they already have spots, they don't need to buy new
Nobody
spots.
wants one on the roof.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why they're there.
So it's mostly a conversation with the housing association.
Correct.
Okay. Because, all right. So I guess, yeah, if you could go reach out to them, see if, go to one of their meetings to see if we can't figure out a way to get more parking spaces for our marina, I think would be wonderful.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
And just to clarify, you two are a distinct entity from the individuals who were in charge of the Marina Village project, like within the company?
Tony, excuse me, Tony Del Pozo from the Related Group. I represent the greater Related. I also work in the Affordable Housing Division, which is Related Urban. I am not actively involved with that project. However, since this has been brought to our attention, I reached out to Rick, and we are interested in trying to find an amicable solution.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for coming forward. Appreciate that. Jason, thank you.
Thank you. So one of the purposes for us being here today is to sort of recap and discuss the road traveled in regards to the Ocean Breeze East property. So, and also discuss the future possibilities for the property and the project and the needs and the vision of the CRA and the local community. Now, last year we were the chosen developer to purchase the property and submit it for low-income housing tax credits, and submit a project that was based on the vision and goals of the CRA. And we crafted our project so that it would fit what people wanted in the community. So we did submit the project. We submitted it for 9% tax credits. Unfortunately, we did not get awarded because it was a lottery-based system. We didn't get a good number. So Plan B was to submit it for what we call revitalization, and that was based on a local initiative support for the building of this specific project. Now, unfortunately, we did not score at the highest, at the highest score amongst all the other applicants. So here we are today, and we wanted to discuss, the future for the project and potentially resubmit the project for additional financing and take another shot at it in this coming year in 2016. So, if you have any questions, we can discuss that.
Pump up the volume just a little, because I'm 67. Sure. I'm sorry. I'm the senior up here, and I can't hardly hear.
No, it's okay. Sorry. So, we're here to discuss the future of the property and discuss the options and what we feel is the highest and best use for the project as it stands now, going into 2016. Now, our feeling is that, our project that we currently have presented to, or that we did present to the CRA last year, is consistent with the highest and best use for the property today. So we are here to request an extension of the current contract that we currently have with the CRA and continue on the path and see if we can bring a great affordable housing community and the next go-around funding this year.
We submitted twice. We, came much closer on the revitalization than we did with the lottery-based system. We feel that perhaps with some tweaks to our revitalization application this year, we could stand a good chance of securing an award. We also We'll look at other subordinate financing in order to try to do a bond deal. So we, did what we said we were going to do. We certainly incorporated the thoughts and desires of the board in trying to craft a project that will best meet the community's needs, and we want to continue on our journey. We feel that, we've done what we feel was in the best interest of the project and try to move it forward, and we will continue to do so.
My question is that you're here with a project. That's number one. Secondly, you want us to extend the deadline. Okay, we know what the deadline is, but we have the public sitting out here listening. What is the deadline you're looking for?
So the dates that were provided to us are still tentative from Florida Housing Finance Corporation, which is the group that gives us the money or awards the financing to the winning applicant. So the timeline should almost mirror last year's timeline. Applications should be due in November or December, and then we will have an answer whether we prevail or not by March or April, and we're required to have site control through that time.
Vivian?
So for the benefit of the folks here, I believe the contract expires May 31st, so we'd be looking for a one-year extension.
Vivian, didn't this board vote to put this out for an RFP this coming June?
Yes, they did.
So we would eliminate that RFP and we'd be tied into a related for a year, basically.
If that's the desire of the board.
Right.
And you guys have offered to put up $2 million for the property pending the grant? Is that the agreement?
That's correct. The purchase price that we have agreed to is $2 million.
Vivian, what was the appraised value of that property?
$1.5 million.
Okay.
And my question is there's the 4 retail, what was the approximate square footage for each retail space?
That is yet to be determined. I think that that we would confer and discuss that more in depth as we move forward once getting allocation of funding so that it would fit the needs and wants of the community and ultimately activate that area of the street.
Right, because I walk by that street all the time and there's nothing there, and
Correct.
It's one of the things is that Family Dollar is pretty much the only actual store in the heart of Boynton Beach besides the other convenience stores as well, and so my hope is that we can bring more jobs to the heart of Boynton Beach and try to make it more use of the mixed use that is currently zoned, because with it being mixed use we can have as much, I don't know what levels of commercial compared to residential. The other issue I saw is that there's a lot of 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. I was hoping for more efficiencies in 1 bedrooms. I did a presentation with the FAU students, and it was very interesting to see what they did because they aren't constrained with real-world limitations. But a lot of them were saying that, based upon a 22, 23-year-old mindset, they were talking about micro units to allow for, people who who want to live, away from their parents, but, can only afford maybe $500 to $600 a month.
There's only 8. They're proposing only 8 3 bedrooms. The bulk of them are 2 bedrooms and 1 bedroom.
Right.
We're receptive. We will, modify our plan to meet the needs of the community. We're not set in stone.
Okay.
I believe it was brought up last year that they thought that the project would be best geared towards families. If we feel that young professionals and the like are the best client base, then we would certainly,
Well, yeah, it's we're looking at the different boards, so I think that's kind of where my thought process is, and so when we have the RFP, that's something that we can allow everyone to do, because it's kind of like we'd love to see you resubmit with the new tweaks so we can compare with everyone else.
The reason why there are more 2s and 3s and not that many 1s, because this project has been designated a family project versus what the other demographic we would be that we're allowed to submit for is for elderly, and because it's a low-income housing tax credit project, we have to pick the one demographic or the other. So that unit mix best suited for family, and the demand in the market for that demographic.
Okay. Jason, let me ask you, why is it incumbent upon us to give you an extension when you can submit this plan with in June when we're accepting those RFPs at that time?
Well, we put in a lot of work and a lot of effort trying to get financing. Unfortunately, we did not, we did not win this first time around, but we feel that we can move seamlessly into the following cycle, knowing and even improving upon our application and taking in the input from yourselves and the community, so that we can greaten our chances of success through when going through the process. So, and by rule, with the tax credit applications instructions, we are required to have site control through to, the time, which may be like March or April. And our feeling that, like, as I mentioned before today, that the highest and best use is what we've proposed here.
But that would be true of all the developers, that they'd have to go through those benchmarks that you just mentioned, correct?
It would be true of the rules apply to everybody for affordable housing developers.
If we were to give you an extension on this, and ultimately just you'd be the exclusive on this, obviously, for the next year, what other incentives would you be looking from the CRA other than offering the $2 million for the land? Would be other financial incentives you'd be looking for?
I don't believe so. In one of the applications for 9% tax credits, we are required to have what you call a local government contribution, is showing that the local government, supports the project, and it's the way for Florida Housing Finance Corporation.
Did we up that almost to like $240,000? I was.
No, well, we had gotten some TIF, I think, an agreement for some TIF money.
Small amount.
It was a small amount, but we're required to have at least, I think, $50,000 of local government contribution to show so that the local community shows their support.
Vivian?
I just thought the second time around, in that second bidding there, we upped everything as the CRAs to show that we were serious players in this, no?
The second application that they show on here, which is the 2015 revitalization, that was a different program, so they required a different
amount.
That
Okay.
was it. It was ranked based on not a lottery ball, but a lot of different attributes, and one of them was match from the local government. I do want to ask Jason a question. What rank did this project come in at the state level at the revitalization?
I believe we were 7th.
7th out of how many?
13. So we were in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Right.
And what's going to make the difference?
Well, we feel that I think we did a very good job with the narrative, and it's based on a narrative and based on what you can show in your application by way of support by the local community, by the local CRA and the local initiative, which is evident in the Heart of Boynton redevelopment plan. So we feel that going through this process a second time, refining our application, taking in more input, and really kind of hitting the marks on the ice regarding what the initiative is and why this project means so much to the community, we really feel that we can, we can give ourselves a great chance of winning this next time around. And I've spoken to Florida Housing. They know that we submitted this project. They like the project a lot. They encourage us to resubmit it, and we like our chances.
My objective for this property would be to get something on it as soon as possible. So I'm looking at time frame where if we continue with you for another year, if we extend your contract compared to if we go out to RFP, which one would be a faster process? Vivian, I think maybe you can answer this better.
Well, if you look at their timeline that they gave you, it doesn't matter because they're not going to be submitting until December for the revitalization application.
So if we go after RFP, would the individuals that we select during that RFP, would they be ready by December to submit?
Yes.
They would also?
Right.
And also we might have a proposal for not affordable housing as well. Is that correct?
No.
It's only affordable housing?
I don't, well, this is a low-income census tract area, which means that the people can't afford high rent. So,
but the issue that I brought up of the micro units and the efficiencies in one bedrooms, that is a possibility that it doesn't fit under affordable housing, but it fits under workforce housing, and it's something that if we have that option available, we can have something started before December if we get that opportunity.
Does something like that qualify for these types of tax credits?
No, there's
No, it's-
multifamily, which is family units geared towards families, and then there's elder housing that is for these tax credits. People build student housing near campuses, but we don't have that. We don't have a campus near us. So that's not something we're going to get. You have to really look at the market that we're in, and particularly that market. And we had a really good developer that we were excited about come look, and they kind of went, well, they're not. They just know they're not going to get the rents today versus the cost to build. There's going to be a gap.
Do you, I apologize, do you recall I was here, it was a year ago when other people submitted bids at the same time that they did and they won out on it. Do you remember, did each of those involve applying for these same tax credits?
Yes.
Okay.
There was not anybody proposing market rate or not to use tax credits.
So, I mean, in your opinion, if you're willing to offer it up, this property, given its location and the demographics, is unlikely or less likely to be built without tax credits?
Unlikely at this time.
Vivian, this question is for you. Have we had any RFPs to come in? This is May.
Oh, no, the RFP would be what we would issue to elicit responses. The request for proposals is what we would approve here. We would put it out on the market, and then we would get proposals back for your consideration.
And again, the time frame on
That's
that.
right.
So if we were going to put out those RFPs in June, we'd get them back, we'd vote. How long would it take for the proposed developer to
The
come up with
good
something that
news
we
is the
approve,
land
and
use
then-
and zoning is there, so they don't have to go through that process. They have to go run around and get the utilities letters and all that, but they're used to doing that. They know how to do this. All of the people in the field know how to get all the letters signed they need. The board would have to vote to get, the match, the support from the local, from us, and I think it could be done. It might be a little tight, but, we do this all the time.
The timeline's not going to change much whether we extend their contract for a year or we put an RFP. They all have to follow that same basic timeline for this to happen. Okay, my take on this, and you guys do great work, and we're glad that you're here. That if we extend, we're going with one proposal. Basically, we're tying that property up for you. I would like to see, and I'd like to see come back in June when we put that RFP out and submit the plan that we're talking about, and see what else this brings in. Maybe the land, the landscape has changed out there as far as development. We don't know. But if we tie it up for a year with one developer here, or a potential developer, we're cutting our chances, to take other ideas in. And I'm not saying it wouldn't be the best idea still, but I think that we limit it by not putting it out by RFP.
Well, for that area, I don't really think much will happen in the way of developments or any new enlightenment will happen in the next year in terms of things being established that will change the market by that much. I still feel that no matter what, we'll still probably have to still have to use tax credits in order to really make up the difference in what happens in that area. So to kind of bring this to a head, one last thing I'd like to ask is, what's the likelihood of the correlation basically between second-time applicants and approval for the same project being submitted?
I believe you're speaking of the revitalization
Yes.
application. The first offering of the revitalization was in 2014, and then 2015. Only one application was resubmitted the following year, and they did not win. So they did not win both times.
If I may add, we took a lot of time trying to understand the Heart of Boynton revitalization plan. We incorporated language. We certainly would invite any feedback, from the board or any other interested individual who can enhance our application. But certainly we spent a lot of time on it, and I think we have a better handle on the revitalization effort of this community than any of our competition is going to have going into this.
Chair. Thank you. Since I represent this district, let me go ahead and say some things. First of all, I thank you all for coming back in. That's number one. I'm not in no way now want to do a hasty decision saying, let's go ahead and extend this application to you all. We need to put it back out for our RFP and then see what comes in. I'm just saying the land has been there all this time. Sure, you might have a great project, but somebody might come in better, and I'm going to offer a motion that we deny the extension of your application.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
All right. One opposed. Board Member Romulus. Motion is denied. Thank you. All right. We're on to new business. Consideration of approval of system audit reports and payment release to Hart Seabourn Cove LLC for the properties known as Seabourn Cove Phase 1 and Phase 2. Staff?
Thank you, Chair. This is a public-private partnership between the CRA and the developer housing group that did the project on almost the very south end of the CRA. They assembled over 6 years, 23 acres, and they built the largest green multifamily project in the country at that time with our assistance, financial assistance. And we have a 10-year agreement with them. They have to monitor the project with a third-party leads person, and then they submit the report to either Andrew Mack or Shane Kittendorf at the city for review. They have to monitor each unit type in each building each year for the term of our agreement. And once they give us that, and Shane says or Andrew says this is acceptable, the report is fine, then it comes to us, and then we bring it to you for payment of their proportional share of the revenue created by the project. That's why it's on here tonight.
Questions? May I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, motion to approve. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Consideration of budget amendment number 1, resolution number R6014, SWA grant.
Susan Harris, Finance Director.
Thank you.
The city and the CRA were fortunate to receive a grant from the Solid Waste Authority for the HOB area, some site improvements, blighted property cleanup, and some city property that is within that area. Since it fell outside of the budget cycle, we need a mechanism, which is the budget amendment, to record the revenue that we will be receiving from the Solid Waste Authority, which in this case for this grant is $62,310, and likewise to record the expenses associated with that grant for the property cleanup and site improvements. So that's the purpose of the budget amendment this evening, and it's done by resolution, and we need the board's approval.
Motion
to approve.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. On to consideration of dates for budget workshop. We're looking sometime in August. And can you explain the budget workshop, please?
Yes. Before we go to the September board meeting, the city and the CRA has their final budget approvals in September. Before that, what we do with you as a board is we need to sit down and go through a proposed budget. That's the purpose of the budget meeting. We tell you what our revenue is going to be receiving, what revenue we're going to be receiving through our tax increment from both the city and the county based on preliminary millage rates and preliminary assessed values from the property appraiser on the values within the CRA district. So we'll have an idea of what our revenues will be. We also have an idea of what our expenditures will be, and we'll come up with a budget or ongoing budget for multi-year projects like the Marina Open Space, economic development, and any new projects. So the budget meeting is your opportunity to look at that and tell us what projects you'd like to put forward, where you want to increase money, decrease money, take away projects. And in addition to the budget meeting, what we do is we have one-on-one meetings with you beforehand, as I'm assuming the city will do, as they have always done with you as commissioners. So you'll have that input. Just to give you a little bit of timeline, the city's budget hearings, unless they're different, are typically mid to late July. So you'll have gone through that at that time. And then you'll sit with us in early August, and as a result of that budget meeting, at a date you choose in August, we'll come back to you in September with a revised budget for final approval. You'll approve that as a board, a CRA board, and then it goes to the city for ratification when the city finalizes their budget.
All right. And this is also an opportunity for the public to be there to make their voices heard as well?
Correct.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Discussion on the proposed dates of August 17th.
I'll say that August 15th is the first day of school, so that starting August 15th, there would be no way whatsoever I could make a daytime meeting.
Okay. And this
We
is
do
from
this in
6
the
p.m. to
evening?
9 p.m.
This evening? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Withdrawn.
we do have a CRA board meeting on the 9th. So I like to do it as soon as after that board meeting. So I would say the 17th.
Are we looking for 2 days or 1 day?
1 day.
17th is fine with me.
All right. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And I guess, Michael, I'm very looking forward to see everything that the CRA has done with the capital projects and private sector development projects, past and present.
Thank you. Good evening, Board Chair, Board members. Mike Simon, Assistant Director with the CRA. And we wanted to give you an opportunity to go over the projects, the capital projects that we've done and some of the key private sector development projects. This was done for the CRA Advisory Board. You all being new board members, we thought it would be a good opportunity for you to get more acquainted with your assets and some of the projects that have happened in the past, better educate you for the public questions perhaps that you may get. Going back to the basics of the CRA, we were established in 1982. There's 1,650 acres. And if you'll remember the tools for improvement that we capture increment dollars from within our district boundaries. It's not an additional tax. It's considered tax increment revenue now, not tax increment financing as it was before. It is revenue and not a tax. So the Florida Redevelopment Agency and the state have been pushing that new term. Also, we can use our funds with other grants and other projects. We can also bond. Everything that the CRA does, any spending, any projects, any new initiatives has to be done or identified in a plan. If it isn't in the plan, you can't do it. And the CRA has been operating under the 5 plans that I've identified here for you, the CRA redevelopment plan being the first one, the Heart of Boynton plan, the Federal Highway Corridor plan, the Ocean District Community Plan, and the Downtown Vision and Master Plan. You'll also remember that we are currently going under a consolidation of plans now with some help from the city so that we have just the one plan and not the large plans that we have now. It's kind of consolidating that effort. And these are the areas of those plans that you may be familiar with some of the planning sessions we've had. So that's the CRA district now lit up in each of the plans there. So going to the first plan, the Heart of Boynton plan, these projects were identified in the Heart of Boynton update. There were 6 that were specifically identified, again, because the CRA is involved in them. They're in the plan and identified so we can expend dollars to do them. The first being the Model Block Project, the second, the MLK Commercial Center, Ocean Breeze Mixed Use East Mixed Use Project, Cottage District Infill, Sarah Sims Park Expansion, and the Ocean Breeze West Residential Development. Now, I think if you've all seen the update, the plan, this is not the only thing that the plan talks about. It talks about demographics and lots of other types of things, histories, local conditions, but for purposes of the CRA and what we do, this is the reason that they're specifically identified for you. Just a little detail for you, the Model Block project, which we just had ribbon cuttings, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, was identified as time to create a model, quote-unquote, block, something that took an existing condition without sidewalks, without street lights, without the features of a model block or some type of enhanced block as an example for development, for future development. Certainly, given the location, which you can see on your aerial there in the bottom corner, is at the corner, the west side of the corner of Seacrest and Martin Luther King Boulevard on the west side there. Point Siena Elementary School is there with a large blue roof, and the boundaries are such that they go to First and then north to the entrance. You may remember also that we recently purchased property from the Palm Beach County School Board, which will provide access continuing west on 11th there to First, which will hopefully free up some of the traffic issues on Seacrest, provide new sidewalks for the kids because there's no sidewalks there now, or street lights. This slide shows you the properties that are owned by the CRA, some that were owned by the city that are now turned over to the CDC in red. We are the ones in blue. The city-owned existing now are in yellow. To the south of the red line of the border, that yellow box with the two blues is the north side of Sarah Sims Park, which abuts the existing cemetery area there. The CRA funded the acquisition of all of those parcels, and the yellow box has been turned over to the city at this time for their, in a transfer to their ownership. So I believe that the ribbon cutting for discussion occurred on next to block, on the west side of block 2, the little box there, number 2, those red properties there. Both of those are built, and then the one on the corner of Northwest 10th Avenue and First is the one that was under construction, you may remember from the ribbon cutting. Here's a picture again of the events that we had recently. The groundbreaking is there, just a kind of before and after, which essentially was vacant and disturbed or nuisance properties that have been torn down and made way for new construction, with both Habitat being one of the builders of affordable housing in this project, as well as the Boynton Beach Faith-Based CDC. So it's, again, a partnership leveraging dollars with NSP funds, which are federal. You've got both the city involvement and the CRA involvement, with Neighborhood Renaissance also involved in the streetscape. Lots of partners, lots of combined efforts and funding to get a project like this underway and moving forward. The Hargrove property recently acquired is also in that model block area. The next project, the MLK Commercial Center / Family Dollar. We knew that this corner of North Seacrest Boulevard and Martin Luther King Boulevard on the southeast corner there was a good spot for a kind of an initial commercial project of some kind. We've had over the years variations of some type of retail, maybe office. The result of the RFP and a lot of hard work by Bose Development created this Family Dollar store, which is the first commercial development on MLK in over 40 years. You can see from the graphic in the upper right-hand corner, there were 3 owners of property that Bose had to deal with, the CRA being one of them. It's going down the line east, you can see multiple owners. CRA is not the only owner of that area, so trying to aggregate enough land to build projects is very important and very difficult for a developer and the CRA. It takes many years to acquire what you see there in yellow that we own. But the fruits of that labor is the new Family Dollar, and we have a picture of the ribbon cutting there as well. And I guess if you have any questions while we go along, feel free to ask.
I have one. Glad you said it. On the Family Dollar, how are they doing income-wise?
To my knowledge, they're doing well. The plant material that was installed there, unfortunately, in the transition hasn't fared quite as well, but they're getting a handle on it. But it's very busy. We haven't had any financial reports or any kind of information regarding the sales within the overall Family Dollar family of stores, but we haven't had any negative information or communication.
I had one negative. That is the bench that was outside. I don't know what somebody told them or how they got the message, but they're not sitting there now as much. I'm just saying there's no loitering. So
that's great. I would attribute some of that to the efforts of the neighborhood officer program, as well as Vivian and I kind of have been preaching for years, and that's the intent of the CRA, is that as the private investment comes in and the neighborhood changes and attitudes of those around change, then the acceptance of behaviors that were not necessarily, I think, positive begin to change. And having a business that's as successful and well known as a Family Dollar type chain, they're not interested in having a failed corporate store like that. So they're more likely to do the things and work with the officers in the city to have that thing work better. So I think it's just kind of part and parcel of that improvement in that area. Hopefully the rest of the street will continue to see improvement as well. Yes, sir. The fourth project under the Heart of Boynton plan for the CRA is the proposed Cottage District single-family infill or home ownership infill project. This is a project located on North Seacrest Boulevard between Seacrest Boulevard on the west, Northeast 1st on the east, and then 4th and 5th Avenues on the north and south borders, you can see from the aerial there. The CRA has spent a good bit of time over the years, beginning in about 2006 and 7, with acquisition of the parcels that we own that are outlined in not as bold of red as I would have liked now, as I see. But you can see the majority of properties owned are owned by the CRA. The balance of properties left are the Oyer, kind of historic Oyer property there on Seacrest, which is designed in that clapboard style, cottagey style look. The property on 4th that you see near Seacrest is also of that same architectural style. And then the one onto the east is the Community Caring Center. The conceptual idea, of course, the market generates what it'll end up being in some ways, which you'll have reviewing in an RFP. We believe it can be some type of cottage-style, single-family, small, getting back to your comment earlier, Board Chair, on smaller housing, not necessarily tiny housing, but we feel like the two-bedroom style with rear-loaded garages, much smaller lot areas. Maybe trying, depending on the private sector development, if they feel like a one-bedroom style house could sell. That's certainly what we may find in the RFP. But the idea was to take advantage of this area, try to get somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 to 22 houses. In the previous slide, you can see just kind of a conceptual layout, but the lot is about 1.5 the size of a normal lot in this area and in general. So the middle, that very middle core where you see all the trees, which happens to also be the location of one of the projects under the Solid Waste Authority grant that we just received funding for. That was a project to clear and grub that area, making it more visible with less hiding places and trash accumulation places. But this area will have to be replatted, whether by the CRA or certainly assisting the developer in replatting all the individual lots. A survey of this site would probably have your head spinning. There's lines all over and multiple lots in there. But that would have to be redone to provide individual lots, and you have to, obviously it's going to need utilities, but the idea would be the single-family housing. You would have new sidewalks, new lighting, getting back to those elements in the model block, and typically what we believe that community should have, all the time in general. So a major improvement both for the public, the pedestrian, and then to get home ownership opportunity in this area.
Michael, excuse me, the CRA, we own everything except for the Community Caring Center building in the Oyer property up on Seacrest.
And you'll see the house at, I believe it's 115 northeast 4th. That's the first little house on 4th coming from Seacrest. We don't own that. and we don't own the house in between there with the next to the community caring center. There are still some houses in this area, but they've been since torn down that the CRA owns. So there's three residential dwellings and then the community caring center, which has been the topic of discussion for some years now, and trying to assist them in a relocation to an area that perhaps my guess is more well-suited to, or more centrally located for the community. The development of single-family around that type of use, and certainly the mixed use across the street, the triplexes and duplexes across the street, are going to make development and investment by the private sector a bit risky. You know, you want to have a nice location to do that without a lot of risk of not selling the unit that you're building. But I think with the help of our new officer program, code enforcement, some changes in the overall landscape, I think, and the close proximity to Town Square, which is a new buzz as well, we might get some interest, hopefully, and maybe the elements on the east side there first can, the owners of those rentals will find that reinvestment in those properties, whether grass or facade improvements, might warrant additional rents, which is, again, kind of what we're trying to do by redeveloping an area that otherwise is vacant or underdeveloped. So we're optimistic there. But we have come up with several, I guess, variations of how to assist the community caring center relocate, whether purchasing their land and using that money to build a new facility somewhere on 9th. We've had, but they're certainly someone that we're going to have to work with closely to see how to provide assistance in relocation for them.
They've definitely outgrown that building. I've been there many times, and it's amazing they operate how they do.
I know.
Do
You're
such a great
right.
job out of such a confined space.
Yes, sir. The next project is Ocean Breeze East, which you were just reviewing, so I don't need to spend a lot of time on that, but you can see the proximity to the Cottage District, which is kind of toward the bottom of the screen, and then Ocean Breeze West, which is across the street. The MLK corridor is 2 blocks north. So again, a really good it's on 6th and 7th, which is, less than 5 blocks or 5 blocks from Boynton Beach Boulevard. All of these things are really, really close to the Town Square location. If you looked at it the way on a map, aerial, obviously, as development starts to change in that area, then hopefully private sector development, property values, and the rest would kind of spread that direction. The next project the CRA was involved in was the Ocean Breeze West project. This is on the west side of Ocean Breeze East, and was acquired at the same time Ocean Breeze East was acquired. This used to be a multifamily complex called Boynton Terrace. Not a very safe, not a very good environment, and it greatly deteriorated. I'm sure Sergeant Deal can tell you some stories there, but just a very bad, it was identified in the very first CRA plan and in the very first Heart of Boynton plan. It's just been a kind of a black eye in the community for many years. The Mother Nature added to its accelerated demise by...
Michael, excuse me, I'm going to stop you. First of all, it wasn't a black eye for many, many years when the project was first put there. It served its purpose. I'm just saying, down through the years, I'm just saying the wrong people moved in. I'm just going to say, I don't want anybody to think that they put a bad project over in District 2. I'm just saying down through the years, it started deteriorating. Then the hurricane came and helped to finish it, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So the CRA stepped in and provided funding to acquire the property, and after the storms in 04 and 05, we provided funding for the demolition of those structures, and then spent a good deal of time with the replatting of that site and acquiring a few of the fringe properties on both sides of 6th and 8th to the north, and you can see from the side image there what the replat and configuration of that kind of one large lot into 21 single-family lots, then later called Ocean Breeze West, with the help of the CDC and Habitat. CRA funded the site utilities, all of the roads, and again, the replatting, the utilities, and then RFP'd the project, and we now have a single-family redevelopment site that just, I think, completely transformed that area and that side of the street. It's just been, I think, a huge success. All in all, from 2001 until April 2016, with acquisitions and other projects, rehab projects, some events, about $20 million, $21 million invested in the heart of Boynton in that time period. Moving on to one of the other planning areas of the CRA, which is the Ocean District Community Redevelopment Plan, was adopted in 2004. So this is generally the area from Boynton Beach Boulevard south to 2nd on our southern boundary here, and then over to the east to the tracks here on Ocean. You'll also see in these images kind of the beginnings of the town square identification in 2004 and kind of a vision of what they saw going forward, which of course springs the redevelopment of the amphitheater, about a $300,000 project for the CRA. You can see in an image what it was prior to our getting involved in the construction and design. This is something that I consider now your company did. It was done. City-owned site. We invested the money, managed the design and the construction, and I think was a great improvement there. Again, the plan talked about activating this area, which was a reason that we could expend funding in this way. It also talked about reactivating and reusing historic or existing properties. This is the Ruth Jones Cottage project.
Michael, I'm going to interrupt you.
Sure.
We got about 17 more slides. I think most of the city the board here have heard it before. So if you can just say the quick highlights of it, and
okay,
we've seen most of this, and we've been in the CRA plenty of times. So
okay,
thank you for speeding along.
Certainly.
Appreciate
so that's the Ruth Jones project. We just did the Ocean Avenue lighting project. This is the 211 Ocean Avenue project, which was recently approved in a purchase and development agreement for redevelopment as a restaurant. And the additional items under the district plan was the parking lot, which is to the east of City Hall, and the sidewalk connector, providing pedestrian access from the new parking lot to Ocean Avenue and the businesses there. The Town Square project, which is from the City Commission's release of that, trying to solicit interest in that project. The CRA, I put this slide in here because obviously it's part of the Ocean District area, but potential for our assistance in that project is on the horizon, so I want to make sure that you're aware that it was in the plan in many different aspects. The Federal Highway Corridor Plan, which gets into some of the things that we've done in that area, also includes the marina and signage, which are identified in the items below, again in the plan, so we can expend money on it. The CRA purchased quite a few properties in the marina after Marina Village was built, and tried to activate some of the vacant parcels there. You have we acquired the site from the city at the entrance there, the tower feature, which you've all seen. We purchased the slips from the Two Georges Marina. You can see the existing condition when we purchased it, or the previous condition on the left, and then the improvements. That was about a $700,000 project. And then the most recent completed project was the Harbor Master Building. Took the vacant parcel next to the Two Georges and operates as the fueling station for marine vessels. And that project was, I think, a complete transformation of that public site there.
You know how the marina is doing with the gas and the sales?
We've generally net in the over the previous years in the range of between 90 and about 110,000. It pushes through about $1.1 million in that budget, kind of expense to income each year. It's a lot of gallons of gas a year. It's a very, very busy fueling station. The only other one is really the Palm Beach Yacht Center to the north, and then the marina in Del Rey at George Bush Boulevard. So it's been we decided to keep it going. We certainly, as an agency, didn't have to run a gas station, but if you want to activate and keep the marine industry that we have fought to preserve so hard in fuel, then we decided to keep it.
Great.
The project that's going out for RFP this summer is the Marina Open Space project and some roadway improvement. That's slated to, again, begin sometime in August, end of July. I just stuck these pictures in today. It's kind of a before and after of the marina area, the Boynton Harbor Marina. You can see prior to the development of Marina Village what the site looked like and the CRA investment, and then what it looks like today in the lower corner there. The entrance signs were identified in the plan. This is a recent project that you all know about.
Michael, can you back up to that slide a little bit?
I hope so. Nope, not that one.
My point here is that the lights that we put on the signs, it's great, they're lit up really well, but I think there should be like some shrubbery around to hide them. They stick out like a sore thumb at night to me. I don't know, it's just my opinion that maybe aesthetically we could put some shrubbery or some, and the same the ones that are they're in the planter there on the bottom right.
Yes, sir.
Just
Okay.
an idea, just an idea. Thank you.
The project on Northeast 4th Street has just been recently completed, transformed a city-owned property from the lower pictures to what you see today. The private sector investment from 2000 till today, you can see quite a bit of units and land massing. Just a very kind of successful, I think, venture, although it doesn't match some of the neighboring cities. It certainly has pumped an awful lot into what was lagging there for a while. I thought it was important to discuss, but you can decide how deep to get into that, but just the kind of amount of TIF revenue that these projects, these kind of larger projects, most significant, generate for the CRA in the terms of our budget and in TIF revenue. The Costa Costa project, initially the property taxes were $119,000, and it's assessed in 2013 at $83 million, and it throws off about $1 million to TIF revenue for us. So these are very large and important projects for our budget, and you can see from the slides that I provided you in your books that all of these are close to $1 million in overall revenue to us. So.
All right.
That's it.
I just have a quick question before we close here. Is that the Ocean Breeze East project? I know we're going to be put RFPs out there again in June, and we haven't had much luck since I've been sitting up here as far as getting development in there. And I know the vision that we have for that parcel of land is multifamily, some commercial and such. But if this time around in June, if this fails again, would it behoove this board to maybe look at, maybe we should do like we did at Ocean Breeze East, West rather, and maybe entertain the idea that maybe that this be more suitable for that single family housing and bringing this area up. I mean, it's just a discussion we can have down the road, but I think it's an idea that maybe we should be entertaining if this fails one more time.
Absolutely. And any other comments? I just wanted to say on future agenda items to the other board members is that if you want the crab board to do something, speak to Vivian, and she will, put it on our agenda so we can either approve or disapprove.
Well, does that, in clarification from the memo rules, is that something that if there's a request from a board member that has to be made at the motion, that will not be placed on the agenda prior to the motion to approve being approved? Or am I confused about that?
Well, I don't think there's any problem with you now, if there was something that you wanted to put on next month's CRAB board meeting, putting that forward in a motion and then voting. If you can give her advance notice, I think. Am I violating the policy already?
Yeah,
I think that.
It's. Yeah, no. What I was trying to say is that an item C assignment, It's that if we have an assignment, any of the board members have an assignment for the crab board, we let Vivian know so we can have a vote on it.
on the
so to
agenda.
put on their agenda.
Yes, what he said.
Okay. I just, I had a conversation.
No, I think the intent of the policy that, for complete transparency, if any board member wants to bring an item for, to assign to the CRA advisory board, you have to, when you get to that portion on your agenda, you raise it here. It does not get pre-printed like the item tonight. It does not get pre-printed or pre-slotted on the agenda because you as a board will have to decide whether or not you want to discuss it and or assign it.
No. That doesn't make that doesn't make sense. It's like we if we don't know what we're going to discuss beforehand, it's kind of like this will allow us to know what we're going to discuss beforehand by allowing. That's kind of what I saw with the resolution.
I think the concern is that if you place something on the agenda that hasn't been approved by the board to be on the agenda, then it lends weight to it. So I could personally have something that I want to pursue through a recommendation to the CRA advisory board. If I bring that up here and consensus is established to place that on the future agenda for them, that's the process as outlined in the memo. If it's on the agenda by virtue of me as an individual simply wanting it there.
No, as a board member, not as an individual.
As a member of this board, an individual member of this board, then again, it's being placed on an agenda without ever being approved of by a majority to be on an agenda in the first place. I think, as per what Lori's saying and as per my understanding of the memo, is that if an individual of this board wants to place something on the agenda, they have to bring it up. It has to be voted on and approved, and then it will be placed on the agenda subsequently for the advisory board.
Can I just take us back to the memo and see if I can, because I think I go back to what I was saying, because I think that was right. In the future, as I'm reading it here in B, the City Commission and the CRA board, this is the CRA board, may request to place matters on the CRAB agenda. All requests by the CRA board member, or I'm just going to refer to the CRA board member, shall be raised under the CRAB discussion item that will be added to both to the CRA agenda template. So in the future, there will be under the advisory board, there will be an opportunity for you to bring up things that you would like to have go before the CRAB board.
An opportunity during the meeting to raise it, not to have it pre-published on the agenda until the commission has had a chance to decide to do it.
So there will be a standing discussion item. Like I said, see, I was right. Dang.
Okay.
I gave up too easily.
All right.
So that you can have the discussion for what you want to put on the next agenda. And if you don't put anything, it will, again, be what will come before you the following month. Does that make it clear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd like to pass the gavel and speak about having the CRAB board look at an art walk in the CRA district.
It has been raised by the chair.
Basically what we would ask is that the CRA board looks at best practices at other city CRAs and cities art walks to see what would work best in the Ocean Avenue. I know that we already have one in the Industrial Way. However, we don't have an art walk on Ocean Avenue, and I think that would be a wonderful thing for the next season, to have an opportunity for our local artists to come to Ocean Avenue in between the music and the movies or afterwards, to have a chance to see the art of and culture of Boynton Beach.
Do we have a motion?
So I'd like to motion that the CRAB board does a recommendation for an art walk in the CRA.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's been passed. I just wanted to hit that.
All right. Thank you. All right. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.